dealing with DCF on your own is very, very risky. So what I remember is my wife got a call from a DCF worker telling her that a complaint has been filed and there's going to be an investigation and that they want to schedule a time to come in home to ask some questions to start the investigation. And it was not the first time we go through this with DCF. We've been through it multiple times. Usually the ex-husband of my wife would file some allegations, some complaints. Oftentimes they come down to nothing, and oftentimes whatever case gets closed quickly. But for some reason this time they claim to have more concerns. So the DCF worker that came to do the assessment, she made it sound like they want to come to support us. However, after maybe 2 or 3 months of her coming on a regular basis, my wife went to the DCF place to ask for the report, and she got the report mailed to us. And we looked through that report, and it turns out that DCF worker was putting things in the report that were completely not true. She was putting her own conclusions that she did not confirm with us. So we tell her one thing, and she would put a completely different statement in the report that was her own conclusion. And if she really asked us for clarifications, she would get a completely different answer. And that made us really upset. And we were really surprised. But what really got us freaked out and really, really worried, my wife and I, was about our 2 children. So for DCF to take them from our home means it would be devastating to them, especially the 3-year-old child who would be taken away from mom and away from dad for no reason, and just be put in some stranger's home. And for us, of course, that would be a nightmare. It was unthinkable. We just have no idea how it would be a most terrible thing that would happen to us as a family. We were terrified, and dealing with DCF was a nightmare. And we found Attorney Seaver at this point. And in the first meeting, we felt right away that Attorney Seaver has good experience dealing with DCF. And also, what really helped a lot, luckily, was YouTube videos. My wife saw them of Attorney Seaver, and I saw some of them also before we went to visit him. And it sounds so. On some of the YouTube videos, what I remember is he described some of the cases he dealt with on DCF, and some of them resonated so much with what we were dealing with at the time, with DCF workers coming into our home and escalating the problems completely out of proportion when the original complaint or the allegations or something so minor that should be closed right away. And so we went to talk to him, and Attorney Seaver, for one thing, he put our mind at ease, and we realized right away that this is the right person to have on our side when dealing with DCF. One thing that he told us was, from now on, he will be present at the meetings with the DCF worker, just to set the records straight and just to be there to see what is being told and how that goes into the reports that get filed by the DCF worker. Now, with Attorney Seaver, what happened is he gave us a plan. He told us, okay, here's what you should do and here's what you should not do. Here are the things that are good and positive, and here are the things that you should really not do ever. And from what he told us, it turns out that we were doing some things that were we were shooting ourselves in the foot in some ways. He did everything professionally. He would come to the meetings before the DCF would arrive at home. And after the DCF worker would leave, he would sit with us. He would tell us, okay, here's Some conclusions about the meetings. You did something good. Okay, you stick with that. You did this bad. Don't do that again. You don't know what they were up to. You don't know what they will come to your home and do. They would be telling you one thing, and then they would write in reports a completely different story. They could be targeting your child. They could be planning to take your kids away, building a case to take your child away. And so dealing with DCF is a nightmare by itself. But however, dealing with DCF with Attorney Seaver on your side is less of a nightmare. It's expensive, yes, but if you deal with DCF alone, you could very much find yourself having to fight for your kids later just to bring them back home. And you could end up hiring more lawyers to bring your kids back home. And that is just so devastating for you, for the children, and also for your budget. So hire Attorney Seaver from now. I know it's not cheap, but I mean, I had to go through it. I had to deal with DCF, with Attorney Seaver on my side, and I had to come up with the money one way or another, because within 3 months, he was able to close the case and get DCF out of my life. And for me, that was worth it. For me, that was worth the money. I would consider Attorney Seaver a 5-star lawyer. I would give him more stars if I can. He did the job and he went above and beyond our expectations. If DCF is calling you and they want to come in to investigate any allegations, hire Attorney Seaver to come in to sit with you in the meetings with DCF. You need to have Attorney Seaver represent you against DCF in order to prevent the DCF workers from coming in later to take your children away. We were very happy. My wife and I were very happy with Attorney Seaver and what he did with the case.